Yes, yes. Welcome in. It's Balloon Party. It's 101 ESPN. My name is Tim McKernan. It's unbelievable.
I can't believe it.
Thank you. There's a really delayed drop there. What are you doing? Are you having a beverage? Oh, you were having a beverage.
I was just clear out my palate, make sure that I'm ready to talk. No gunk in my throat.
Jackson's getting ready to head down I-55 to Memphis to watch the Grizzlies and Clip Show tonight and the New York Knickerbockers tomorrow.
That's right, Tim. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
God bless.
Things couldn't have gone worse in terms of the Grizzlies' health with Ja Morant, slap tear. He's out. Marcus Smart, broken finger. He's out. Kobe Brown with the Clippers, sent down to their G League team in Ontario. But hey, I still get to watch 4 Hall of Famers tonight.
You bailing? Sounds like you're bailing on the trip.
Hell no. Hell no, I'm not bailing.
Jackson's in. You can get into the YouTube and talk it over regarding this Grizzlies-Clippers game. Airlines Team Studio Cameras is who sponsors the youtube.com, and it's the 101 ESPN channel. Subscribe and enjoy the fun and games. Jackson and I will be on youtube.com/TMASTL coming up right at 11. Probably quick because you're getting on the road. Mm-hmm. But we're going to keep our QFTA streak alive today. That's
right.
The Tim McKernan Show podcast. 3 shows, all before noon. How about that?
Easy money, man. That's just that. I say, another day, another dollar.
Man, look at you.
That's what we do.
Passive income is what you have. That's what you guys have at Ladue.
It's the life we've chosen.
You make money on the backs of my people in South St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. I'm the worst.
Oh, cut to the chase.
I'm the true enemy.
Well, I think you are the hero of today's program because it's a Friday, which means it's time for the Little Piddles Friday 6-shooter. Woot, woot.
Quick draw, Tim. Let's get into it. Dan Lanning is staying in Eugene, Oregon.
Not leading with the Blues over the blue shirts, and the enemy has appeared, and he's right here in Creve Coeur, Missouri. Unbelievable. Are we doing sports talk radio in St. Louis or in Portland?
Boy, I'd like to talk about Portland.
You want to talk Rip City?
Yeah, they lost. They were losing by 62 at one point last night to the Thunder. Either way, Dan Lanning is staying in Eugene and also denies the rumors that he was in Tuscaloosa yesterday. My first question to you, Tim.
Do we have the audio from the reporter?
Yeah, give me a moment here.
Okay.
Ooh, the reporter, I don't know on that one.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to step over the line of scrimmage, look out on the defense, see that Mike linebacker, get on my step stool, and go, boys, we're going to call an audible right here. Let's talk about Jordan Kyrou and Jordan Binnington. Jackson calls them the Jordan brothers. And the Jordan rules last night at Enterprise Center were a Jim Dandy over the Metropolitan Division leading New York Rangers, or as Jackson calls them, the Blue Shirts. And what a win it was in a game that Drew Bannister wasn't really particularly pleased with the play. But the power play, the power play, our nemesis became our friend in a win in which Jordan Binnington had 41 shaves and Jordan Kyrou had himself a hat trick.
I got a question on that. The Blues are in the midst of a really tough stretch of their schedule and doing more than holding their own. Binner's hot. Kyrou has fans throwing hats on the ice, and they're competing, if not winning, with some of the best teams in the NHL.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bounce back after Tuesday.
That's right. If the Blues can remain hot and continue to improve the power play like they did last night, do you think that there is a chance that Drew Bannister could be the coach of the future?
Yes, I do. I do. I know my responsibility is to say more than yes. But I do see that is becoming more and more possible. And I think one of the biggest reasons is you're seeing more consistent play. And I realize Tuesday was down. I kind of like a guy who's in an interim role who just beat a division leader after also having a good week the previous week. May I say it? I don't know if I can. I don't know HD1 rules. I've always been an AM radio guy, an HD2 guy. But I'll say it, the balls. To sit up there following, score-wise, an impressive win and say, I'm not happy with the way we played. If anything, we're fortunate to get out of here with 2 points. This team echoed that sentiment, which shows the team isn't going, hold on a second, once we just beat New York 5-2 and guys sharpshooting us? They agreed. And that, I think, says something. So I think that with each passing day and you're beating teams of this caliber, it gives more credibility to what he's got going on. The power play is certainly something that you circle, but I don't know. What is it? I mean, they've beaten some quality teams. If they're going to be in the playoffs, most likely it's going to be as a wild card. Look at how they've played some of the top teams, which is who you would play if you're a wild card. You're going to be playing the top of the division teams if you get in as a wild card. And who knows? Maybe that gives you a little sweat when April rolls around, Jackson.
Yeah, we've talked about the new coach jump a team gets, but I think at this point we're well outside that window where that theory, phenomena is the case. I think now this is kind of Bannister's identity, more consistent play, a lot more shots. I mean, tough to argue against that, and you do what you do against these tough teams in the East. You got to like what you're seeing if you're a Blues fan for the future, not to mention all the young cats doing all that in the World Juniors. Yeah, I know, Puck.
Wow. Did Jamie Rivers, write you a script?
He's in my ear right now, actually.
You have an IFB.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Feeding me takes.
Holy moly, cockatoli.
Yeah, so it's all on delivery for me. If I can deliver it, I fool people left and right.
How about this? Well, I actually do have something because I texted with the non-ling, former TMA, and he sometimes sends in questions with JR. And we were texting about the game this morning, and he goes, "You're dead on. The game was won by Binnington and Kyrou. What is there to say about Binnington? He was fantastic. Kyrou was just on. He was engaged. He was skating. He had his head up. I'm less impressed by his shot on the catch and release goal. He's skilled enough to take that shot in his sleep, and more impressed by how he got back into the play. And then his backdoor tap in on the power play is the result of skating and reading the far side of the ice instead of staying on his wall like he might if he were disengaged. And the other power play goal is Saad being in the right spot and Shen staying with the play and making the right decision. Everybody was touching the puck. When the power play is bad, Shen might hang on to the puck or take an extra beat to find a safer play, like back to the points, instead of identifying the best opportunity, assuming that opportunity is exactly and actually there. So you get 2 power play goals. You get Binnington playing like that. It's going to be tough for anybody to beat them. I mean, that's just a night where the Blues get those kinds of things. But then, interestingly enough, a game in which, you hear from Bannister, heard from Binnington, but both following the game, we didn't necessarily have our best game. At the same time, oddly enough, I feel like Kyrou could have had more than the 3 that he wound up with. So you get the Bruins tomorrow, and then wrap up the homestand with Philadelphia, and Tortorella comes to town following his defense of Kevin Hayes 2 nights ago in Montreal, and then off on the road they go. But, man, if you can survive the month of January, maybe even thrive in the month of January with the schedule as difficult as it is, build confidence when the schedule lightens up, that can give you a little something and maybe a sweat down the stretch, Jackson.
Yeah.
Just give me Stanley Cup playoffs if you can. I don't know what you can give me. I don't know what kind of, I'm sure you have some power.
Yeah.
Just being old money. Give me Stanley Cup playoffs, please. Give me a sweat. Give me an April. Give me Cardinal baseball, the Masters, and Blues playoffs in April, and then we get the warm weather, and then I'm in a very serene spot.
I like that. A little freestyle question here for you. Do you think there's anything they can do over the next, week or so that would change their mindset heading into the trade deadline?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they were ever going to be super aggressive one way or the other, because it's a different set of circumstances than last year as far as the sell. And I don't think, as I think it was Jeremy Rutherford said on TMA the other day when he was on with John Kelly and Jamie Rivers when Florida scored a goal, and he was, I think, talking about one of the prospects at the World Juniors.
I think.
Yeah, Jimmy Snipes.
That's right.
And he goes, "Oh, there's a goal given up by us there." And then he just went right back into that. JR is like, yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of where he is on this season. Not that he's not happy by it, but it's not. He's like on the edge of his seat thinking, we got to get this game. We got to win this game. So with that said, I'd be surprised if something over the next week, I suppose a major injury.
Yeah. Would that lead more to buying or selling, you think? Like, let's say Benner goes down.
Sell. If that's the case. But again, I don't really know what all there is. Again, comparatively speaking to what we were talking about last January with the names.
Right.
You're talking O'Reilly and Tarasenko. That's a different conversation than what's out there as far as selling in 2024. All right, Jackson, you have gotten the audio of the anchor who said Dan Lanning was in Tuscaloosa. We also will have Dan Lanning's response to said report because Dan Lanning is out. Steve Sarkisian Sarkisian is out. We will talk about the college football domino effect, in addition to 5 more questions from the Little Piddles Friday 6 shooter. You are listening to Balloon Party on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. Welcome back, friends. It is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, driven by Munganass, St. Louis Acura, and Munganass Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, Timothy Michael, McKernan, Jackson Bennett, Burkett. Jackson, I am constantly seeing what's doing with this coaching search situation. Will there be a domino effect? Nothing doing this morning minus the following. Steve Sarkisian tweets out he's staying in Texas. But then Kalen DeBoer was supposed to appear on a Seattle radio station this morning and then backed out. The Seattle radio station tweeted out, "We apologize. We know you were looking forward to the interview, but Coach DeBoer and the Huskies are doing everything they can to, I believe, solidify the future of Coach DeBoer in Seattle." But that was interesting, was it not?
Definitely. On the Sarkisian thing, I would have absolutely been shocked had he left his post at Texas to go to Alabama, especially with Texas making the jump to the SEC next year. I feel like that's a job you don't necessarily leave. Bama would be the one exception you probably leave for, but that would have surprised me based on Sark's kind of demeanor around Texas. DeBoer seems like the likely candidate at the moment. However, from Alabama, I don't know. I tread lightly just because DeBoer has had 2 outstanding seasons at Washington, but they're 2 seasons. But who are you going to get who's like an established star? Dabo?
Well, you're going Dabo. Is that where you're going?
But they would despise that in Tuscaloosa. And he has proven so far that the new age of college football doesn't necessarily suit his skills.
So, and I share that portion with you. His body of work is the best of anybody who would be available, but recently he has run into problems with reluctance with the NIL and transfer portal. So with that said, where's your action?
It was on the Lane train up until you told me on TMA that I guess you were listening to a podcast. That,
Reese Davis and Pete Thamel.
Right.
And Davis went to Alabama, and I believe he's pretty tied in there, and he said that Greg Byrne, their athletic director, is just not going to hire somebody who they've parted ways with, fired. And then Greg McElroy has a show, and he said Kiffin is not in.
Mm-hmm. So if
McElroy of ESPN, former Alabama quarterback, for the record.
Right. If I had to put in a bet, like you have to bet on it.
You got to fire a bet. You got to fire something at the pot. Where are we going here? Where are we going?
It would be DeBoer. If I could take a value play.
You're going D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryans, as we talked about on TMA, who will probably be the coach of the year in the NFL this year. I'd be surprised if anyone else were to get it.
You're little Johnny Texans.
I really like what they've done this year. C.J. Stroud's outstanding.
You bet them against me.
I did.
You got the Browns. Browns are plus 3,100 to win the Super Bowl.
That's interesting. That's interesting. When you have a defensive front like they do, you can be competitive in almost every game. So there's value to that.
All right, fair enough.
But D'Amico, former Alabama player, I think it's really important for the reception of the new coach that they have some sort of Alabama ties.
Well, that Kellen DeBoer would be out.
Right, but he is, outside of Dabo, probably has the best body of work if anyone can say
I just wonder how a non-SEC guy would be received by Alabama. Right. Somebody who's born in South Dakota and is coached north of the Mason-Dixon line and not at an SEC school. I don't know. I don't know if it's an issue. You win, everything's fine. But then the first sign of problems, they're on you. Yeah. And I realize it's Auburn, which is different, but still, we've got some similarities there, and Brian Harsin experienced that firsthand. We had one outpost yesterday reporting that on the long list is Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz. On the long list. Now, you just rolled your eyes a little bit, I noticed.
I love Coach Drink. I love what he's doing for Missouri. I'm very excited about next season and the future in general with him at the helm. It would just really surprise me that a guy who's 4 years into his SEC coaching career and had 1 season above 500 would be a candidate for the probably most scrutinized position in all of sports in America.
Replacing Nick Saban and taking Alabama out of it, replacing one of, if not the greatest college football coach of all time.
Yeah. That would generally, if Sarkisian would surprise me, Drink would shock me. Mm-hmm. Now, the interesting thing is the domino effect that we've talked about in TMA and here of coaches leaving, meaning their old jobs need to be filled, is Drink in that situation. Like you said, Lane's probably not going anywhere, but if Lane were to go to Alabama, who takes over the Ole Miss? Now, that would not surprise me if Drink would be highly considered for a job like that. It's
a Football Scoop that put him on there along with Mike Loxley, who used to be at Alabama, and he's now the head coach at Maryland. Gabe DeArmond, friend of the program, wrote this on Power Mizzou. Anything you are seeing listing Drink is basically aggregating the Football Scoop report, not confirming it. And that's not to say Drink isn't on a list somewhere or that it's impossible he gets the job. There are just a lot of guys in front of him who are more likely. This is the problem with sports media these days. One person writes something and everybody else just repackages it, and the people reading it think there are 27 stories saying this, except there aren't. There's one story saying it and 26 saying the one said it. Nobody in this thread is arguing against Drink as a good coach, but the chances he gets the Bama job are very slim. That's Gabe DeArmond. And that's why the Colonel is one of my favorite people in the world, because he's thinking exactly like I'm thinking. But here is what I am going to do that Gabe can't do on the forum on PowerMizzou.com. I can play audio and say case in point. On Wednesday night, I guess it would have been Wednesday night, a sports anchor on a Eugene, Oregon television station reported Dan Lanning was in Tuscaloosa. Pretty substantial report. I mean, I didn't know about it until you and the Plowhawk on TMA brought it up.
Yep.
And I'm going, holy crap, well, if he's in Tuscaloosa,
right,
then and I go, who's reporting this? And then it was a local television anchor in Eugene, Oregon. And I thought, okay, I had some skepticism. It's not Pete Thamel, for example. It's just, I'm wondering, because if you're in Eugene, Oregon anchoring, it's a good chance you're closer in age to you. And if you're in your age range, you're used to just not you per se, but people just throw crap out there and there's no penalty if you're wrong. Well, I think there should be a penalty. It damages your credibility. Well, it turns out Dan Lanning was at home in Oregon watching Jason Bourne film with his family. And therefore, the anchor had to appear on television last night, and here's what he had to say.
Yesterday, we were part of those rumors reporting that Lanning was in Alabama. That information was wrong. I take full responsibility for that. It wasn't the KVAL sports team. It wasn't the rest of the news department here, which is filled with ethical, strong journalists. That one was on me. I take it seriously, and I do want to apologize to our viewers and to my colleagues. We strive to be accurate in our reporting, and when we make an error, as I did yesterday, we own up to it. Dan Lanning in Eugene has absolutely no egg on his face tonight. I wear the egg, and this is turning into a golden age for Oregon football. Duck fans have a lot to be excited about.
I don't. Can you play the very beginning?
I sure can, Tim.
Thanks, Jackson.
Yesterday, we were part of those rumors reporting that Lanning...
I guess that's enough. Thank you. My understanding, you tell me if I'm wrong, because maybe I'm wrong, they weren't a part of the rumors. They were the initial report which Gabe is talking about. Then it becomes... Because then you go, well, I saw it on Sports Illustrated.
Right. And they were crediting him.
But Sports Illustrated was crediting him. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't mean Sports Illustrated's reporting it.
No.
And then if I'm not mistaken, CBS saw that, and then they looked into it, and they go, this is just like a guy who's, probably starting his career out in Eugene. Now, maybe he knows, because oftentimes, as is the case, the younger reporters get close to the players because they're peers, and they find out things. But if one player knows Lanning is in Tuscaloosa, then multiple people know it. So it was odd to me that only one person had it. The theory I would have is that there was a flight on that flight tracker software that anybody can access showing a private plane from Eugene, Tuscaloosa. Yeah. And that was the reason for the report. I don't know. I just keep going back to, number one, two primary sources to corroborate. And number two, if you're going to say something that's either defamatory or factually inaccurate, there has to be some downside to that. And right now, it's an industry in which you can just throw crap out there and just go, oh, well, I've got bad information. And then it's dangerous because the game becomes, let me be first, but if you're wrong, there's no downside.
Right.
And it leads to people distrusting media. Mm-hmm. And that irritates me, along with defaming people. Those are the two things. Jackson, thoughts, reactions, concerns, or your head already in the Grizzlies-Clippers game?
No. Once we hit 55 southbound, that's when I'll start.
That's when you go?
That's when I'll start.
Right, when you go past the water tower?
That's right, the famous water tower. Yeah, I mean, you got to get two primary sources on it. One person saying something is, rumor. Two people saying it is a story. And that's just journalistic ethics.
Nice.
Journalism ethics.
Smooth as a mountain stream.
It's
pure
great.
as the beer he calls his own.
And it's great doing it when I'm talking about journalism, something I did not study. But yeah, journalism ethics tell you got to get two sources on it. And I feel like college football more so than any other sport, and I know we're on the heels of Ohtani thing with Morosi, but like college football more so than anything is susceptible to this kind of rogue journalism that goes on where people are just kind of saying stuff and people run with it. I don't know why that is, but I just feel like college football is more susceptible to it. And as we've talked about, college football is slowly turning into politics in terms of the discourse around it. So
yeah. If you don't walk in lockstep with a team, then you're the enemy. So it goes. 314-399-9646. That's how you can text into the program. It's the Air Comfort Service text line. Studio camera sponsored by the Air Alliance team, and 135 friends of the Feather are in that YouTube chat talking it over. And Jackson's waving to you right now.
Yeah, I like to give him a little something.
Yeah, some people like things.
Yeah, this is a great hoodie.
You wearing that to the game tonight?
No.
The Sleepless in Seattle T-shirt?
It's in the suitcase.
You're going to wear that to the...
I don't know if I'm going to wear it to the game. They do need to get an NBA team back in Seattle stat, but I don't know. Probably not. It's going to be a little chilly in Memphis.
Oh, is that right? Well, I would imagine it's chilly damn near everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a little warmer tonight, but tomorrow it's going to be chilly. So layers, baby, layers.
Impacting your NFL playoff action, which we'll talk about in the second half. Our little formula shows a surprising play for this weekend's NFL action. We will have that for you in the second half of the program. The program is called Balloon Party, and it is sponsored by Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues win last night. Final score of 5-2 over the New York Rangers. The Blues will play again tomorrow night as they take on the Boston Bruins. You can catch that game right here, home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6 p.m. and the puck drops at 7. And a hell of a battle on the Great Plains last night between the Thunder and the Trailblazers. The Thunder win 139-77. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 31 points. That was their SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you here on the program. It's 10:35 in St. Louis, and you are listening to 101 ESPN. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. And Jackson, you are in the midst of this Little Piddles Friday six-shooter. I can't wait to see what you have up your sleeve next.
Where should I go on this? Where should I go on this?
Maybe you should have thought about this while you were updating people on the Trailblazers game.
Yeah. I guess we could say this is a kind of a quick hitter, but it'll kind of lead into a conversation.
Oh, wow. Okay, a little strategy here. Watch Jackson's strategy, everyone.
I kind of alluded to it in the last segment, talking about Alabama being a highly scrutinized job. Do you think that the Alabama head football coach is the most scrutinized position in all of American sports? What would be in that conversation? Cowboys coach, maybe some New York market jobs? Is it situational? You know, like Saban, following Saban?
What does that sound like to you?
I heard over.
No, it's Darth Vader.
Oh, that's good.
Seriously?
Yeah. Doing it just with your raw voice is pretty tough.
Nah, it just shows my talent. I'm going to go Yankees manager, Cowboys head coach, Alabama coach. Am I missing one?
Like, that would be at that level. I think those are the three.
Real? Because you're with me.
I think those are the three. Because I was like Cowboys coach for sure.
Because I know you want to shove a basketball one in there. There's not a doubt in my mind.
But there isn't one
that's what I'm thinking.
Like the Knicks would be the most, but that's not even at the same level as
they have a new coach every 3 months, don't they?
Thibodeau's been there for a little bit.
He's got a run going.
They actually are pretty solid this year.
You get to see him live tomorrow night.
Yeah, second time I've been to a Knicks game in my life. But they're not. That's not the level of the Yankees Cowboys coach, or definitely not the Alabama coach. I just think maybe Alabama is the most, because down there, like football is Alabama football specifically is a religion down there.
But it's the same thing at LSU. It's the same thing in Georgia. Same thing in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be the same thing here.
I would love
longing
that.
for that.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. I'm longing for that.
Yeah. They wouldn't call us soft. Not this media, baby.
Well, I'll tell you what. If somehow it happens that the dominoes fall, that Eli Drinkwitz gets that job, can you imagine? Just imagine.
Boy.
You know, we're supposed to be off on Monday. I'd say Mike Ryder, Randy Carricker, I'm getting out of bed. I'm coming in.
Yeah.
I might tell the boys on TMA. Oh, maybe I'll just do it from the house. But either way, yeah.
If that were to happen, like I've felt bad for Gabe a lot in my life. I felt bad for Gabe a lot. I don't think I would have any more sympathy for Gabe in my entire live-long life.
Well, I think there's whatever percentage you would give it, and it's not listed on the betting odds. Jackson monitors the betting market for the Alabama job. But if it's one thing if he goes to Tuscaloosa, it's another thing if he goes to Fayetteville. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's where Gabe would have to deal with the...
Yeah, you're right. Perceived lateral moves.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's like, holy crap, this guy was coaching in Columbia, Missouri, and a year ago just lost to Wake Forest and was 6-7, and now he's the head coach. I mean, if they're not happy about Dabo Swinney, I can't imagine they'd be real happy about Eli Drinkwitz down there. You know what I mean?
Oh, there would be a real problem, I think.
But... at least Dabo would have the body of work. But on the other side, Drinkwitz has the positive trajectory right now.
Right.
Personally, if I'm making a hire and I'm Alabama, I look at body of work. But if people, the big boosters, are going, we don't want Dabo Swinney, then, God, I don't know. It's like, do you want Dabo Swinney or do you want Kalen DeBoer? And then who else is in? Mike Norvell is being discussed, the head coach of Florida State.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I think for Norvell, it would make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
given what Florida State just went through with the CFP and then now what they're going through with some NIL
the
violations.
CFP issue is a one-off. That'll never happen again.
Right. But it could leave a bad taste in your mouth if you're the coach.
I understand, but it's irrelevant. It had nothing to do with Tallahassee or anybody in Florida State. Hell, if anything, he got like insane backing from Florida State fans,
Right,
and legislators for that matter. What's your next question, sir? I'm sorry, I go off on tangents, Jackson.
It's all good. I want to pay off on that tease that you teased the audience with on the NFL Super Wildcard Weekend betting. Any value you see out there? Something you're interested in? Matchups that you're targeting?
The one that is surprising to me, but I guess this is how it works. I would imagine if there is a game of them all, maybe it would be the Bills over the Steelers. But if you could just take one team, if you had like a survivor pool this weekend, and you had all the matchups, and I'll attempt to do them from memory and give you the spreads. Browns -2 in Houston. Chiefs -4.5 at home against Miami. Very cold conditions here in Missouri, even though it's 4 hours to the west. The Bills -10 against the Steelers. The Cowboys -7 at home against the Packers. The Lions, I can't recall that number off the top of my head. Is it 4.5?
I thought it was 4.5 or 3.5.
At home against the Rams. And then Monday night, the Buccaneers getting 3 at home against the Eagles. If there was one that I think if you're doing a survivor pool, I think the public would take the most of, I think it would be the Cowboys. I think. I really do, even though the line is bigger with the Bills and Steelers.
Right.
However,
oh, wow.
The money is on the Packers in a large way, and that is the little formula I use for my NFL wagering. It's approaching the number where I go, doesn't matter what I think. I have a fiduciary responsibility to my family to deploy capital and my runners in Las Vegas and Monte Carlo.
Right.
At this point, to bet the Packers. Now, we're not there yet, but that just caught my eye because on the surface I would go, the Cowboys are going to beat them by about 30.
Yeah. And I know our data doesn't necessarily support this, but every time I hear someone talk about the Dolphins-Chief games, they go, oh, the Dolphins can't win in cold weather like that. It's going to be brutal.
Oh, are you making a play?
I just
hear it. Are you going to go against St. Louis Chiefs fans?
I just hear it, and it makes me think, like, boy, everyone I talk to is like, man, the Dolphins, it's cold weather. They just won't win and write them off. Makes me kind of want to bet the Dolphins.
Oh, well, you're parlaying the Dolphins and Packers.
Getting 4.5. I mean, the Dolphins clearly have the talent to do so. They just have really struggled against good teams and struggled in cold weather. There's no doubt about that. But like I said, or you've said before, when the public is all saying this, that, and the others, usually the opposite happens. Brando kind of scratch.
You know what I'm thinking about?
You do a good Brando.
I'm thinking about the under.
Yeah. I wonder what that total is.
43.5. What do you think? I don't do show prep?
I know I don't, but 43.5. That's pretty low. It's cold, though. It's cold.
And the Hawk is up.
Is Pacheco playing? I shouldn't ask that because I don't know the answer, and I shouldn't ask.
That's like the answer that the producer for the show should have.
Right. Jackson? Yeah,
Yeah, why don't you just look through your phone for about 10 minutes on the air?
All right.
Jackson's looking that up. What I'm going to do is go to a break, and we will come back with the final 2-3 questions for the Little Piddles Friday 6-shooter. Then Jackson and I go right down the hallway back to the TMA studios and go live on youtube.com/TMASTL. And sometimes it's sports-related, sometimes it's not. I don't know. It's questions from the audience, and you can ask anything you want. And I'm offering $150, my own money. This isn't like Win Terry's money on Fox. Oh, I'm crazy. I'm giving away money. No, this is really my money for hate mail. Like that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Now, the hate mail, been getting it for a quarter century. I'm trying to figure out if I'm a sociopath.
Right. Calloused.
Right. Can you get me? Now, you can't use your burner. You can't use your burner that you registered to post under STL Today articles on. You got to use your Hotmail account.
Yeah, MSN.
AOL.
SBC Global.
Right.
We
That was nice. You outdueled me on that. Charter.net.
It's whatever emails Doug has.
That is where you got to send it. And then I just Venmo you $150. I go, I'll tip my cap. That was good. You got me.
Yeah.
All right. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com or any other topic for that matter. Anything is welcome. We'll come back with the final segment of Balloon Party here on 101 ESPN. Well, Jackson, here it is. Final segment. How are you going to finish? That's up to you.
It is up to me. I like that. I like that power.
All right.
Banana, banana, banana.
Really tactic.
It was. I have to scroll up. Pat McAfee.
Oh, what's going on here?
A little interesting article I read today in Awful Announcing.
I actually am not familiar with this story. Educate me.
So the article is basically saying that despite the negative headlines of recent with McAfee and ESPN, they have the same vision. And that vision is McAfee being brought on to increase internet and YouTube viability and not caring about the TV ratings. That's what they're kind of saying. I believe McAfee allegedly was upset with Norby because Norby was the one talking about the TV ratings when, in McAfee's mind, he knew, Norby, a high-level executive, that he wasn't brought on to bring in TV ratings. He was brought in to bring in YouTube numbers, and he's get like 100,000 concurrent viewers sometimes for his show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, those are major numbers. So, knowing that, seems the idea getting behind McAfee was priming their content to be moved to subscription-based method.
This is one of those things where you're doing the read, like you're just getting it out of the way.
I lost my place, and I couldn't find it, so I was just like, talk fast, kid.
No.
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah, exactly. Spread your wings and fly. You are a beautiful butterfly.
Okay.
Is that Mariah Carey?
I love Mariah Carey.
What about Daniel Craig?
Oh, I mean, he gets out of that. I think it was the Mediterranean in Casino Royale. Woof, woof.
What do you mean, woof, woof?
Yeah,
He's wearing a Speedo.
precisely.
314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line.
I just know that gets people going. Not me necessarily, but I can recognize. Either way, based on the article, it seems the idea of getting behind McAfee was to prime their content to be moved to a subscription-based method, and if they have someone like McAfee, they'll have that anchor. What are your thoughts on this story? Is the plan for ESPN seem to be the right move as opposed to spending more money on linear TV-focused hosts?
I'm hearing all of this for the first time. So you're saying the play with getting McAfee was to get more people to subscribe to the ESPN app? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily, but if they were to move to more of a subscription-based method online like YouTube, that they would have an anchor, someone who people would pay for right off the bat, and that person being McAfee, someone with an established show.
So are people paying for that now? They're not. They're just watching it for free on YouTube.
Yeah, they're watching it for free currently on YouTube.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm going to buy time to try to think of my answer by acting like I care about yours. What is a sports show, not the association, or not the Cardinals or Missouri, or may heaven's lightning bolt strike me down, the NHL, that you would pay for, like a show, a sports show you would pay for? See what I'm saying? I'm not saying like I know if you know you'd pay for an NBA game,
right?
A Cardinals game or a Missouri game, but I'm talking about like a you know, I mean, right up there as I'm looking, Mike Greenberg is wearing goggles as they're smashing little football helmets. You couldn't give me $500 to watch this, you know. But like, what is something like? I loved Real Sports. May it rest in peace. I loved Real Sports on HBO.
Something I personally wouldn't, but I know a ton of people would.
No, you personally, baby. You personally. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I mean, NBA and TNT is a pre- and post-game show. That would be one.
There you go. That gives me an example. That works. I get that. And I'm obviously not as big of a fan as you are, and I love that show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd probably like College Game Day.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's another one.
Okay.
Pardon My Take is one that a lot of people would point to.
I bet that would be one.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if the McAfee... And I know it's incredibly successful. Make that crystal clear. This isn't like I'm mad that he's making money. You know, that's not it. God bless him. Tip my cap. Good for anybody in the business when somebody raises the bar. Mm-hmm. But I'm just curious if that would be something that people would pay for. And I don't know. I agree that people would pay for Shaq and Charles Barkley and Kenny the Jet with Ernie Johnson. I get that.
Right.
But I'm just curious on... like daily, would people do that? I don't know.
Right.
So I'm asking aloud.
Yeah. And I think like what you could frame it as if you're ESPN is if you do pay for it, it's no ads, you know, you're just getting straight information. And if you are watching a linear TV and drop that, you essentially just take that payment over to the subscription-based model.
Right,
However, like I just listed, 100,000 concurrent YouTube viewers would tell you that more people are watching on the internet.
I mean, even if only 10% came over and paid, that's I would think that's a win. It's kind of like we were breaking down the P&L for Peacock spending $110 million on this Chiefs game tomorrow night, Chiefs-Dolphins. And I think they might be profitable just tomorrow night.
Yeah, not including ad sales or sustained subscriptions for people who don't cancel it because it's like, hey, The Office is on here and we love The Office. All right, we'll keep Peacock. And yeah, that's what I think Amazon's taking a look at what Peacock's doing. And if it's successful this weekend, I would bet Amazon next year for the playoffs. They give a
couple $100 million to have a playoff game next year?
Yeah, and it raises the price for everybody too. Fox, CBS, ESPN are going to have to start ponying up. And that's like, if we're going to see a big shift to stream, things like this, where an NFL playoff game, like the most heralded thing you could possibly have in American sports, gets moved to streaming and it works, it's going to be a new age, baby.
What if Balloon Party was only available on Netflix? And what that would do for Netflix stock.
Oh, boy, yeah. We want to talk about spreading our wings.
Right.
That would be a moment.
I mean, there was the Chappelle special on New Year's Eve. But if you get us live, too.
Sitting here. Static. Just
talking about the Cardinals signing aging pitchers. Oh.
And the trending now up there at the Balloon Party. That would be really great. Piddles in the Chud.
Yeah, Piddles in the Chud. Yeah, we rename it. Jackson, do you have a fifth question?
I do, matter of fact. I do.
Why the delay tactics are just so transparent.
Where will I go? Where will I go? Show me madness, and I will show you love. What could the domino effect of these coaches moving around with the rumors of Jim Harbaugh possibly making the move to the NFL? Do you think there is any chance it could affect our guy, Coach Drink, if somebody else takes a job?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I feel like if DeBoer took the Alabama job, I don't think I'd be too nervous about Drink going to Washington.
I agree with that. Can I have a moment for myself?
The floor is yours, sir.
Should we rename the show Piddles in the Chud, or Tim takes a moment for himself?
One's a little wordy, but I like it still.
Right. I just don't fault anyone for choosing to leave a job and pursue. And also, when it gets down to business, I don't fault a corporation for going, we can't justify, pop, you're gone. That's the way that it goes. I don't know. I feel like I compartmentalize the business versus the personal. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've been on the other side of the desk, so to speak, and I know that usually these are math-based decisions, but sometimes they're family-based decisions. And what my thing with Eli Drinkwitz has been from not the moment he was hired, but from the first few weeks when he was hired, is I'm just like, I don't think that this is a guy who's going to be here for the long haul. And either he is going to fail, and so all of the talk is going to be, oh my God, Eli Drinkwitz, remember that? What a joke. Or when there is an opportunity, he's going to be gone. In other words, he's not Gary Pinkel, but that doesn't mean he's bad. It's just he's not Gary Pinkel, who just had a tough time leading Toledo, Ohio, much less, eventually being a coach in the SEC. And so if Eli Drinkwitz were to leave, I think if he leaves for Alabama, I think a lot of Missouri fans would be concerned about the state of the Missouri program, but I don't think they'd be angry or as angry at Eli Drinkwitz as if what I was making reference to, not that Fayetteville's in play, but something that would be perceived as a lateral move. If anything, I think some Missouri fans would go, God, it's a compliment that the Missouri coach was taken for what is perceived as, what you were saying, perhaps one of the most high-profile jobs in all the sports.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it actually, it's like the only way that he could have, a perfect legacy. Not perfect, obviously, but, his legacy would probably be best if he did go to Alabama.
But if it's and I don't know what a good / realistic, I guess, if Kiffin got the job, and as we've said, two different Reese Davis and Greg McElroy, so that didn't happen. But, who knows? Maybe it does wind up happening. Thought Blake Baker wasn't going anywhere either. And then he went to Oxford. How that
would
you
not
see what I'm saying?
That would not be received well, even though probably is a step up.
I mean, there was debate last Friday night. Is Blake Baker making a lateral move?
Right.
And I suppose short term, you could say, well, Missouri's in a better spot than LSU. But long term, nope. Even Missouri fans. Who the hell would say LSU's not a better football program?
Right.
It's probably one of the top 5 over the last 24 seasons since 2000, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
With championships and perennial success. So I think that's the thing to keep an eye on. Also, one thing, if you are worried, that they have a defensive coordinator announcement. You go, okay, well, then that means you would think. But at the same time, it's college sports. And one of the reasons why it's so titillating to talk about or to listen is because it does have soap opera elements to it. I don't think NHL coaches, unless you get a handful of one-offs, and like Tortorella as a personality, or people hated Babcock, whatever it is, they don't have the same like baseball managers now, because a lot of them are just like neutered guys who are receiving messages from neutered guys in front offices.
Everyone's neutered.
Everybody's eunuch. But in college football, it's really personality-based. It's cult of personality, which is so perfect for 2024 in so many ways. And I think that is why you're seeing an uptick in the interest in college football, even though the game and what surrounds players going to schools and coaches leaving them has never been more chaotic and the rules more unclear. But the interest is also at an all-time high. ESPN's breaking records with their numbers for those ratings for those games. So college football is positioned quite well because, if anything, it might be one of the last bastions of both personality and anti-data.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And therefore, more people can relate to it.
Yeah.
And
Lane
it's
Kiffin.
just passion.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's a great example of that personality. He loves doing stuff
that's
like
what
that.
I'm saying. These head coaches become cults of personality. It's 11 o'clock. We got to go. BK and Ferrari are out at Centene. Blues and Bruins tomorrow night. Pregame here, 6 p.m. on 101 ESPN. Jackson and I are going to youtube.com/TMASTL here in a matter of moments. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura and Munganess Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel.